LeBron, you've been through more game ones than anybody. What after a game like this, where it's a big score line at home, what's the kind of the proper way to try and respond from that mentally, physically, and all of it?
Well, obviously, we got to do a better job of controlling the controllables, and I don't think we did a good enough job after the first quarter. Once they blitzed us in that second quarter, 38-20. But giving up 21 threes, giving up 20-plus fast break points, second chance points, those are some of the things that we can control. Obviously the three-point shooting, we know they have a lot of lasers, they have a lot of guys that can shoot from the perimeter. So we got to do a better job of closing the bodies and getting out on shooters. So, we'll get back in the film room tomorrow, look at the things that we did well, some of the things that we didn't do so well, and continue the game plan for game two. We have a couple of days to prepare for it.
LeBron, both AR and JJ mentioned that they felt like one of the factors tonight was the physicality being something that maybe caught you guys early on in the game. Were there any things that you saw that gave you belief that you figured out how to counter that as the game went on that you can take into game two?
Well, definitely. When you play in a Minnesota team, they're going to be physical. That's what they bring to the table. Maybe it took us one playoff game to now get a feel for it and know what the type of intensity, the type of physicality that's going to be brought to the game, but that's just the way they play. So we should be more than prepared for that on Tuesday night.
LeBron, obviously you guys are going to meet game two with a sense of urgency, but what's sort of the right approach to a game two when you're down 0-1 in terms of still being calm and understanding kind of the big picture of things while also knowing that it's obviously an incredibly important game?
No, we understand that. They took home court from us tonight, as far as the series, but we have an opportunity to even the series out on Tuesday, and we have to play a much better game than we did today. Like I said, we have to control the controllables, and if we do that, we're going to give ourselves a much better chance to win than we did tonight.
You mentioned one of the first answers there, the Timberwolves 20-plus fast break points is a key factor. How much of that did you see as a result of just you guys missing shots close to the rim or near the rim and them running out just from there?
No, we did a great job later on. Throughout the whole season, we did a great job of not allowing teams to get, fast break point after fast break point after fast break point. Like I said, those guys are 10 for 15 and 25 points on the fast break. We already know offensively how dangerous they are. So when you're giving teams an opportunity to get those easy points, it's going to be hard to make that up. We only had 6 ourselves, so that we got outscored by 19 in that race. So, those are things that we control by getting back, setting our defense, making them score against our half-court defense.
LeBron, you guys closed the third on a 17-6 run and then carried that over into the first few minutes of the fourth. What did you see during that stretch of 6-7 minutes that you feel like you could take in a game?
We met the intensity, what they were bringing to the table. We met the physicality with physicality, and started to get up into them. Allowed us to get some turnovers, allowed us to get some extra possessions, and it allowed us to get back into the game. So, like I said, sometimes it takes a quarter, 2 quarters, a full game to get used to playoff basketball once again. So it shouldn't be no surprise on Tuesday.
LeBron, to your right, when you talk about controlling the controllables in the second and third quarter, what comes to mind at those times?
Offensive rebounds, giving up open shots to lasers, not being in the right position. So it was a lot of factors that allowed them to build that big lead up to 27.
LeBron, Minnesota was able to kind of penetrate, driving kick. They converted a lot of those corner threes and things of that nature. How much of that was just a team getting hot and hitting their shots, and how much of that is part of the controllables and things that you can prevent?
We're going to look at the film and break it down. There are some that was just great plays by them. We're all NBA players. We know how to make plays. Some of the things we could have control, but we watch the film and see ways we could be better with our rotations going into game two.
LeBron, the Timberwolves scored 18 points off turnovers compared just to 9 by the Lakers. How do you think the team can do a better job managing that in the upcoming games?
Well, obviously, taking care of the ball versus a team like this is very important. But anytime you're in the postseason, you got to take care of the ball, you know. And if you turn the ball over, you got to try your best to get back, you know, in transition and not allow them to get points. Like you said, they had 18 points off our 13 turnovers, and we only had 9 off their 10. So we got to do a much better job of trying to turn them over, and at the same time, do a better job of protecting the ball, you know, and not having as many turnovers for us, you know, especially at home. I appreciate it.
Hey, Luka, several of your teammates just talked about the need to match the Timberwolves' physicality a little bit better. You obviously played against them last year and you know, a little more familiar in the playoff context, but did you feel like that was lacking some in parts of the game and you guys can respond better in game 2?
Definitely. I think the fourth quarter we played the way we play. I think we were playing physical. Everybody was locked in, and then we just kind of, how do you say, let go of the rope. You know, so we got to be way more physical. It's 48 minutes, and every possession matters.
Luka, you just mentioned letting go of the rope. What did you see in the second quarter and then like that first half of the third quarter before you guys went on the run to close it there?
Sorry.
Just the middle 2 quarters when I think they outscored you guys by like 34 in that middle stretch. What did you see during that stretch?
Yeah, I think it was physical. You know, they were hitting a lot of threes. We got to limit their threes, especially the lasers. And we weren't physical. They were running, they were getting anything they want, and we got to be better with that.
Luka, when you get going early to start the game, and we've seen you do it a bunch of times since you joined the Lakers, and you know, I think tonight you have 14, they have 12. The Lakers are up by 8, but other guys aren't touching the ball. Is that ever cognizant in your mind in terms of like getting other guys touches as well as getting yourself going? Is that a balance that you have to strike at all? Offensively, I'm just curious.
Sure. I don't know how to respond to that one really, but yeah, I guess gotta pass more. I don't know. I don't know how to respond to it, honestly. You know, I'm just trying to set the tone from early, but obviously one assist, that's not good enough for me.
What did you see from the team late in the third, early in the fourth when you guys start to chip away at the Timberwolves deficit? I think you guys cut it to 12 after being down by 27.
Yeah, I mean, I think just playing our game, just playing the way we know how to play. We were physical, we had energy on the defensive end, and then we just get out in transition and play our game.
Luka, yo sé que esta no es la manera como querías terminar el partido. Tengo 2 preguntas. Primero, ¿qué tan físico fue este partido? Y después de ser bombardeados con esos triples, ¿qué tan abrumador fue ese momento y cómo trataron de recuperarse?
Sí, no es una buena manera de empezar, pero siempre digo en un playoff series, primero a 4, ¿no? Alguna vez vas a perder, alguna vez no, pero es primero a 4. Creo que están muy acertados hoy y tenemos que limitar eso.
Luka, sí, no querían iniciar con una derrota, pero ¿qué se rescata de este partido?
Creo que cuando hemos jugado como nosotros sabemos jugar, con defensa buena, con mucha energía, hemos tenido nuestros momentos y tenemos que mirar eso y aprovechar estas ocasiones.
Luka, una derrota, obviamente el objetivo es ganar, pero metiste una canasta increíble de media cancha. ¿Puedes platicaros esa jugada y cómo se vivió?
Sí, bueno, pensaba que nos iba a dar un empujón, íbamos perdiendo y creo que esa canasta levantó a la gente. Pensaba que nos iba a dar un empujón, pero bueno, no valió para nada. Sí.
Luka, back here. What did you kind of make of your first experience here in the postseason in terms of the atmosphere pregame and kind of how you guys were able to get the crowd back into it?
It was great atmosphere. You know, sorry we couldn't get the first win, but it's always first to 4. It's been amazing. The crowd was amazing. They were sticking with us when we was down, so I really appreciate it.
Luka, ¿qué pasó en ese segundo cuarto y qué viste sobre la manera que ellos buscaron limitar tu juego a la hora de involucrar a los compañeros?
Bueno, creo que la defensa no estuvo al límite. Creo que no hemos defendido, han anotado muchos puntos en ese segundo cuarto, en transición, de rebote, y creo que nuestra defensa luego no ha salido en ataque.
Luka, in games like this, what do you feel the team needs to adjust collectively to respond better in the next game?
Just being physical, play like we played in the first quarter. I think when we played our first quarter when we were at the best. So just limit their threes, limit transition, limit second chance points, and play our game.
Luka, ¿crees que faltó urgencia en este partido? Tuviste un gran comienzo, pero te limitaron a solo una asistencia. ¿Y cómo sentiste el ambiente en tu primer juego de playoffs aquí?
Bueno, alguna vez va a ser alguna 10, no sé. Al final, sí, cuando no doblaron, no podía tener muchas asistencias. Pero bueno, creo que nuestra defensa no ha sido buena hoy. Tenemos que mejorar en eso.
Luka, Minnesota was able to kind of penetrate the paint with ease and kind of get those driving kicks going and, got hot from three. How much of that is things that, the team needs to kind of work on? How much of that is just Minnesota hitting shots?
I mean, they have great shooters, obviously. I think we have to do a better job, limited their threes. They hit 21 threes, which is a lot. It's gonna be really hard when a team shoots 50% from three to win the game. And we gotta do better to taking them off the line and trying to force twos.
Jared, you guys for the last several weeks have done things and accomplished things to allow yourselves to feel good about yourself. Winning games you needed to win, securing the 2 seed, making sure you stay out of the play-in tournament, earning some time off. Was it jarring at all to be back into this space of like, okay, now we're dealing with adversity because it's been a minute for this group?
Yeah, I feel like we've been dealing with adversity all year, man. Obviously, we ain't played in a week, so I think it was good to just get back out there, today. And yeah, I mean, it's the playoffs, so we're gonna have some adversity. Like don't get too high, don't get too low about this game. Our confidence is still as high as ever, in this series right now. So yeah, that was just a wake up call, and we, got some adjustments and ready for game 2.
Austin, ask JJ this same question, but what did you see in that second quarter to start it, where the game kind of flipped in Minnesota's direction after you guys came out and had a somewhat typical first quarter for you?
They went on a run to start the quarter, and we couldn't find a way to get a bucket, and I felt like that affected us on both ends. So you're not going to be perfect in a game. You got to figure out ways to play through those situations. And, to be honest, I have to be better at the start of the quarter, which I wasn't. And it resulted in them taking a lead and kind of just having all the momentum from there.
It's a team that you hadn't seen, in full since you guys got your team in full after the trade deadline. What did you notice about them today that was, whether it was similar or different to film, and about what you can take out of this game into game 2?
I mean, they're going to play hard every single possession. Offensively, defensively, they're going to be physical, and we have to do a better job defensive rebounding. We gave up too many, second chance points, and then we got to, get back. We can't give up transition points either. So we'll watch the film tomorrow and figure out ways we can be better.
Austin, some of your guys' defensive success this season was deciding what?
Like I said, we'll watch the film and get better.
Austin, you had a quiet first half by your standards, and then you started to look more comfortable, I'd say, in the third quarter. Like, what did you feel like shifted in the second half for you, and then how would you assess the first half?
Bad. Didn't play very well, and then got a couple shots to go in the third quarter, but through the whole midst of the game, I have to be better. I have to help us control the game better, and like I said, I'll watch the film and get better.
Austin, when you guys have been at your best this year, it hasn't really been a team that's overreacted to things. Like Dave mentioned, like game plan threes. If the game plan calls for you to do one thing and the other team makes a shot, you guys have generally stuck with it. I'm curious, just kind of what was the mood in the locker room post game between like a sense of urgency versus calm after one game in a playoff series when you have to win 4 to advance?
I think that kind of was the mood was you don't win or lose it, through one game. We have an opportunity. I think we play Tuesday, right? To even up the series on our home court and then go compete for 2 games on their home court. So you never lose the game after the first game, second game, third game. To be honest, you got to get beat 4 times, or you got to win 4 times. So that's the outlook. We know we didn't play very well. We didn't play to our standards, and we'll get better.
JJ, you went into the second quarter up 7. What did you see flip in the game at that point?
They were able to get the start of their run was transition and a second chance. And if you look sort of at the effort offense areas for them, they ended up with 25 fast break points, which that's always skewed by the counter, so it's more than that, and 23 second chance points. So, the schematics-wise in the half court, we'll take a look at everything and see what we want to tweak and all that. That's hard to overcome, particularly when a team is shooting like they were shooting tonight.
Yeah, with that said, that you got to go and look at it. They hit 21 threes. How many of those did you feel like were ones that you kind of have to live with to wall up the paint versus ones that you would have liked to see contested differently?
Yeah, I mean, I have to go look back at everyone, but I know a number of those were in transition and off offensive rebounds.
JJ, Luka was able to get off to such a good start scoring the basketball, but I think he finished with only a single assist. What were they doing to kind of limit his playmaking opportunities, and what did you see on that front when it came to the other guys, particularly early in the first half?
A lot of it was just the coverage scheme they had, not really playing Gobert his normal minutes, and then some late reds, some late veers with him when he was in coverage. Then that. They had their 1 through 5 switching group in. So just in terms of like the 2 on the basketball, the blitzes, the 4 on 3s, just not there. I mean, I think that was expected on our side. But again, we'll look at the film and see what we can do better.
JJ, so much of your, to your right, so much of your mantra this year has been effort defensively. It just wasn't there at the beginning of the second and the beginning of the third. Any thoughts on why that was, or were they doing something?
Huddles were great. The communication was great. I'm not sure physically we were ready, if that makes sense. And really, when they started playing with a lot of thrust and physicality, like we just didn't respond immediately to that. And as the game went on, again, there's. Sometimes the early onslaught from Luka, it's just like easy offense, and he's making shots and getting downhill. The first possession he drives on Gobert, and then he's hitting threes, and that's really good offense for us. And some of the other guys may not touch the ball for stretches. And I thought there wasn't necessarily like forced actions. He missed a little bunny at the paint. We missed 2 open. LeBron missed 2 open threes. We had a Rui open 3. That was all at the end of the first, start of the second. And look, it's just natural. Again, sometimes the missed shots can affect the defense. There was a couple misses at the rim that then led to those transition buckets where we had a man down. Them playing 5-on-4 or 3-on-2. So we can be a lot better on offense and defense.
JJ, similarly with LeBron, he got off to a slow start before it felt like he found his footing more so in the second half. What did you see with him and how they were defending him?
They're obviously switching his pick and rolls with Gobert. And I thought we got a few good stuff just trying to get Conley involved with him on the ball. Probably got to do a better job of mixing in some off-ball actions for LeBron. There was a few plays, we had sort of called or drawn up, and they went zone nearly every time we ran an ATO. So we'll do better with that.